Hey, Callie, how you doing? All right, so thanks so much for addressing the comments and resubmitting. Okay, so you've got regs, updated timeline, bold dates. We'll talk about that. And I mean, it's so difficult to figure out what happened. Sometimes words seem to be bolded. Sometimes it's just the way the PDF renders it. There's just so many variables, so it's just things that you definitely want to check. And sometimes it is actually a inconsistency. So I guess the point is just really, really check to see what could be possibly causing um, this kind of erratic behavior, specifically in that you're saying that you never had it bold in the first place. So it's just a matter of expeditious housekeeping, so to speak. Okay, but I had to add the way back. Let's address everything in your comments. Let's just jump right over to the composition here, and of course, the cover is just fantastic. I just love the cover, love it. Okay, now one of the issues that we're having here is this. And do your rags look better? Absolutely, they look better. Do they need further adjustment? I think so. And the reason I say that is this is that right now you're using really thin type columns. And the reason you're using thin type columns is to accommodate this configuration here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're kind of duplicating that 1, 2, 3, 4, which it points to good design. I mean, there's no question it points to good design. One thing I'm seeing here as I'm this is just off subject for just a second, but right now this frame as we kind of compare the front to the back, these all line up, but this frame is pushed over. I would move this image over a little bit to try to align it with the front of the grid. Because as you can see right now, everything's in alignment, but this image just seems to be pushed over to the left a little bit. Increase the gutter size between the image and the first column of type. At any rate, as I was saying, these thin type lines, these thin text boxes create a real issue when it comes to adjusting regs. It seems like you understand adjusting regs. There are some things here I would recommend further adjusting this. Now, I do want to reinforce the fact that with such thin text boxes, it's difficult. It's making things really difficult. One of the things I would recommend here for the regs, because the regs are going to get looked at. They're going to get looked at by a portfolio reviewer. They're going to get looked at by a hired professional. They love to look at things like orphans, widows, regs, old style, small caps, the things that we've been covering. So one of the fixes here could be to reduce the type size here. And that could entail reconfiguring, reduce the type size, which could entail creating more negative space and maybe even reducing the size of the image. But I just want you to know that that is one option, reducing the actual type size. I think that will help in um, establishing good regs. So there's a couple of areas in the regs. Okay, this looks good. This looks good. I think the first column looks pretty good. One thing I would do is I would drop that 2 to the next line. Place your just soft return right there. Place the cursor before 2. Shift return. That's a soft return. That'll drop to the next line. That might take care of the rest of this line. A couple of other areas of issue is this line is really short, which is problematic because of the fact that the next line is the next word in the next line is too long. So you can't bring studying up here. It's not gonna work, right? And as you can see, then if we drop if to the next line of, see how that works? Container, you can't do anything because the next line, the word is too long. Try dropping that to the next line. So try these little things, but this is a little problematic as we can see kind of this kind of configuration. I think it's just too dramatic, the differences between the longest and the shortest lines. Now, rest assured, typesetting in columns that are a little bit wider is definitely much easier. But we can definitely do this. I'd say the first thing, as I said, is try reducing the type size. Now, which brings me to some curious. Now, right here, this type size here looks larger than this one. It does. I mean, it really does. If you can see, it just looks bigger. And I think one of the reasons is because the leading is greater in column 1. And let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take my straight edge here, and I'm going to place it under. See, our baselines aren't aligning. We can clearly see I've got this straight edge placed under the baseline for the center column, but as we can see, that the right column and the left column are not in alignment. So we got to get these baselines in alignment, and then also we can see that your actual baselines for the type columns themselves don't align. So check your leading here, check your type size. It just kind of looks like this is, boy, I hate to say it because I don't want to. It could be one of those weird PDF renderings, but check your type size here and here. Check your leading here and all three columns, and just make sure everything's consistent. Try to get those baselines. If you just Google baseline alignment in InDesign, you'll see how to apply baseline alignment to this. Okay, one final comment, actually a couple final comments. So this kind of, I thought this was blue before, and I would recommend keeping it blue. I think a really cool technique for this piece would be to keep that area blue, just like you have this kind of ghosted area behind the bones. Now, if what you can do is take that color blue, grab your palette, your color from that palette, and do an overlay in Photoshop on this semi-transparent overlay, color overlay. Make sure that you shift it to blending mode of color so that it adheres to the tonal distribution of the image, and place a blue color overlay, semi-transparent, over that. And I think that might be an interesting technique in conjunction with changing that ghosted background to blue as opposed to white. Final recommendation is, let's go over here to the timeline. Okay, so I can see that we don't have, old style numerals, very nicely done. All right, cool. All right, so anyways, right here, good job bolding the years. That's fantastic. That looked great. Nice job with your end dash. Don't forget, now in consistency, it looks like got a little bit of, check this though, but because right now it looks like you're using a space before and after the end dash here, but here it looks like there isn't a space before and after. Just check it. I'm not saying there is or isn't. Again, it could be a rendering, but check it. One final recommendation is to take this type anywhere in your timeline that there's two columns of type. What you want to do is take the second column and pull it in and align it with the E, so that this U should be aligned with E. Conversely, this the A should be pulled over and align. Make your alignment, left alignment. So hang the date and the end dash, and then align all the rest of the type with the first letter in the first word. Okay, so this would be pulled. Some of them might entail having to go to three columns, three lines of type. So, and that's fine. Just make sure you don't include any widows. Do you see what I'm saying? So this would definitely want to go down to three lines of type. Looks like there's a space missing after discovering and before X-rays. Okay. All right. Other than that, I'd say you're just coming along really beautifully. And I like I said, I'm a big fan of this piece. I think it's fantastic. So those are my recommendations for final submission. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any clarifications. I will be in tomorrow, Sunday, so I will be. I'll be in Sunday. So if you want to run something by me for just a really final look, feel free. I'll be in. All right. Thank you very much.